Welcome back, Summoners. Today we're putting a spotlight on Ironheart and her ability to dominate Alliance warfights. This video is a collection of matchups across several different nodes where she really shines, showing just how much utility and control she brings to the table. Some of these fights are exactly what you'd expect from her kit, while others might surprise you with how comfortably she can handle them. Let's jump in and take a look at how Ironheart turns even some tricky encounters into controlled, calculated wins. And we're going to start off with a couple of fights on node number 4. This one's got reverse controls in it, and if you're like me, you always want to find an option that is going to be immune to the inverted swipe controls. Not a lot of great options when it comes to fighting future Ant-Man on this node. So, we're going to use Ironheart here, and we do put the Rupture Repulsor on her because future Ant-Man is going to reduce the time that the Incinerate debuff would be on there. So, really here, just a standard, pretty much Ironheart versus Mole Man fight. It is not the greatest matchup because you can't really complete your combos once he gets above 5 armor. So it is a little bit slow, but the main thing about this fight is it is very, very safe. All I have to do is dex his specials. I'm not even trying to dex, all of it cleanly all the time. It is just a matter of being as safe as possible. You can see here, we're just doing 4-hit combos. Typically, I would do medium, light, medium to place more ruptures on them. But, this is very safe. Don't have to worry about the inverse controls at all. While not the greatest future Ant-Man counter, for this node, she works very, very well. And a little bit better matchup on this node is against this Dust. And, well, Ironheart, to me, is the best Dust counter in the game. And this node really does nothing to enhance Dust. They put her here because of probably the inverted controls, just to make it a little bit tricky. But you can see, we've got 4 Incinerates on. We're doing a good job of, trying to stay away from her, trying to keep the sand stacks off. We're not doing a good job of parrying there, but now we've got the tracking debuff on, and now we can parry her whenever we kind of need to. Here, we're going to throw a special 1. We pause the Incinerates for a little bit. We do prefer pushing her to a special 2 if we can get it. Much easier to dex and counter the special 2. Now we just need her to throw it. There's a nice little special 2. We dex out of it, a couple hits into a striker, and that Dust is down in short order. And now we're going to jump over a couple paths, and this is going to be node number 6. So still in section 1, path 6, first node in the fight. And, Ironheart is great for this fight because as soon as she gets that tracking debuff on there, she can't miss. So what you're going to see here is, yes, this is a Black Panther, so you can't really stun him. So we're going to take some hits in the block. Ironheart, of course, has armor, so it does mitigate some of that damage. Now you can see here, we've got the tracking debuff on here, and once I hit 15 hits in this particular fight, you're going to see the falter debuff show up, and of course I can continue to hit because I have that tracking debuff on. I can't miss. So really takes, once again, another node that can be tricky if you lose track of it or something like that, and really makes it easy. Her kit just really eliminates a lot of the difficulty from these nodes. Hardest part in this fight is remembering not to parry and just kind of baiting his specials and not getting hit. And you can see here, we take this Black Panther out in roughly 54 seconds. And I'm going to show one more fight on this node as well. This is going to be against Negasonic. Really similar type fight. Ironheart's going to turn off part of the node. It's also going to turn off part of Negasonic's kit. You can see she does not start with the evade charge up because I am using a tech champion, and as long as I keep knocking her down, that part of her kit is turned off along with the node. And you can see this is a fairly straightforward and fairly simple fight. Medium, light, medium combos, throwing special ones, not having to worry about faltering. You can see, here we not even worried too much about dexing the special. We'll just let her hit into the block. It's not doing too much damage there. I kind of forgot to knock her down to turn off the evade. Didn't really matter. Small little heal, but clean fight there as well. And now let's jump to node 13. This is back over on path 4, second fight in the first section. And this is a Domino. Nothing really special on this fight. She doesn't turn off Domino's crit fail, but she handles this node once again pretty well. There's nothing in it really to turn off. There's no miss, anything like that. You could do the intercepts to avoid getting the unsteady on you. I'm not even worried about that. You're going to see here in a second, I'll start glancing some, not a huge deal. I'm really using this to kind of just heal up a little bit. You can see I've got a debuff on. We're healing slightly. The crit fail is going to hurt a little bit, but I'm healing up and staying about even in power. And she took care of that Domino in 37 seconds. And now let's jump back over to path number 6. This is going to be node 15, Phantom Pain, Spinning Wheels, Dirty Work. Basically on this node, anytime you place a debuff on the defender, you're going to get an exhaustion debuff on you. Not ideal for Ironheart since she likes placing so many debuffs. But you're going to see she handles this just fine. Didn't really have the ability to bring in a different counter on my team to take all the fights I wanted to, so we're just going to use Ironheart here. We're just going to do our standard medium, light, medium combos. There I did a medium, light, light, medium to get over a bar of power to throw a special one. I like throwing special ones. It lets you build up a lot of exhaustions or a lot of incinerates on there. Pauses them, just makes the fight a little bit quicker, especially when you're not pushing real hard. I'm not really worried about time. I'm worried about coming through this fight with as close to a full yellow bar as possible. And one of the things in this fight that I'm doing is I am blocking all his specials. You can see here, I don't try to dex. I'm just going to take it all in the block, and you can see how little damage it does with all those armor ups that she's got. So once again, nice little fight here. We're going to throw another special one. We thought about baiting a special. We tried. He didn't want to do it. We waited a little bit longer. We said the heck with it. We're going to parry medium, light, medium, and finish off Bastion. Now, kind of like that last fight, this one also same node, node 15. This is just showing, once again, that she can take on a wide variety of fights. This is against a Dr. Doom. Doom is not as threatening as he used to be. He still can be a little tanky and a little tricky. But, here you're going to see, we're just going to kind of use the node to heal up a little bit. And that's really all this fight was for. We did turn on the ruptures. And, we're just going to kind of do our medium, light, medium into our specials. You can see we are stacking a lot more exhaustions this time around. And, it is just now avoiding Doom's unblockable special ones, not throwing our special when he's got his aura up. We did get unlucky there, and we did get a shock on us, so we're going to back away. Kind of took out all that nice little willpower healing that I was working on, and kind of threw it right out the window. But we're going to start again, and we're just going to kind of continue on through. So you can see here, hitting pretty well. Doom's almost dead. We avoid the Doom slap. Didn't heal up any, but we didn't lose any health either, even though we got hit. Now let's jump into the second section on the Alliance War map. Still going to be focusing on Pass 4 and 6. Those are the two I primarily take. This is going to be on Path 4, Node 22. So this one, Steady Build-Up Fury, Special Burst Trauma, a little bit of Taunt. Once again, here we're just going to use Ironheart. Ironheart is an excellent, excellent, excellent Bishop counter. You do have to use the rupture mode instead of incinerate. As long as you remember that, she's going to turn off a lot of Bishop's kit. You know, I'm not worried if he throws a special 1. I'm not too terribly worried if he throws a special 2. Even if the special 2 is unblockable, she can block unblockable hits. So there you can see we get a nice dex on the special 2. You know, and it's just going to be just like that. Parry, medium, light, medium. You can see, very simple gameplay. Here he throws a special 1. Guess what? Ironheart is Incinerate immune, so it does not really matter. We're going to go into our striker there, a couple more hits into our special 1. Won't quite finish him off, brings him down low, and you know what? He's going to throw another special 1, but while he's doing that, the ruptures are doing damage, and he's dead. Full yellow bar finish on that Bishop. Jumping over to path number 6, this is going to be node 24. Now the hardest part of this node is it does start with fisticuffs. So the first 20 seconds of this fight, because of the fisticuffs, is a little slow. 1, you don't get your armor. So any hits in a block are going to hurt a little bit more. 2, you can't place debuffs. So, you know, here, I take some hits in a block. I could probably dex away. I could hit into her block, and you'll see that I do that in some fights that I take on this path. It just really play it by ear, how I feel. It's a Storm Pyramid X. The only thing I'm really worried about in this fight is getting hit by her specials. We finally have the fisticuffs off. Now you can see this fight is going to dramatically speed up. Here, we couldn't get a good clean parry in there. Didn't really matter. You know, into another special 1. The incinerates by themselves, individually, you see those red numbers, they're not very big. But if you see how many of them are flying through there, they do add up over time. You know, they really do a good job of just in general speeding up the fight. You know, there we go. Even with the fisticuffs in there, that's a fight that's roughly about a minute and pretty clean. And now, like I said in the opener, she even takes fights that you really wouldn't think that she would take. And here is one of them. We're going to go against this Kindred. We're going to throw on the Rupture Repulsor. You know, kind of have to do that. Same node, fisticuffs on there, so we got to worry about the first 20 seconds. Ideally, what we don't want to happen is Kindred throwing a bunch of heavies. So we're going to try to stay away from him. We're going to try to hit into his block. We're going to try to prevent him from throwing heavies. And you can see there, you know, he wanted to throw a bunch of hits right off the bat. You know, he was coming for me. There, we get an intercept, so we go ahead and say, what the heck, we're going to take advantage of it. You know, now it is just a matter of, we're going to hit into his block. Now, if he wants to throw a special, that's great. We will dex the first part of it. We'll get hit by the second. If he doesn't, that's fine as well. There we go. Now we can pause his infestation. And now fisticuffs is gone. Now we control the fight. And once again, just medium, light, mediums. We're going to throw our special 1s. Biggest thing we have to worry about here is him getting the complete infestation on there. You know, as long as we're countering, we are pausing it, which is fine. You know, you can see there the hits don't do much. There, I was a little late. Got parried, but you know what? The only thing it's going to do is it is going to give him the infestation. You're going to see here that he's got it. I'm going to start backing away now. He throws his special 1. My ruptures are doing some damage. Yeah, it's fine. I will play the stay away game for as long as I need to. You know, is this the cleanest fight in the world? No. Is this the best counter? Once again, no. But what I'm trying to do here is show a little bit of her flexibility there. Thought I had a parry. Kind of screwed up. But you know what? It didn't hurt that much. We're going to throw a special 2 here. We're going to push him down fairly low. We're going to get stunned. He's going to throw his special 1. That's fine. He's going to come after us. We break the root finally. A couple hits. Once again, we finish the fight. Full attack bonus. Not as clean as I like. Do have to heal, but it's full. Now we get my favorite node on the map, node 31. And if you've watched me on this node at all, you know that I can die here and have died here and probably will continue to die here because it's not really a node that is suited very well for my gameplay style. Here, I'm not sure of the placement of Emma Frost. You know, yeah, you can't parry her. If she does get 3 debuffs on you, you're going to be hard-pressed to get openings. It's going to be slow because of her diamond skin. But you can see here, I'm not going to worry about it too much. You know, there's nothing here. I got 2 debuffs. not really going to get a third on me that I can think of. You know, there, she throws a special. We counter it. We're reverse control immune once again, so we don't have to worry about her when she throws her special, you know, with the inverted controls. We dex like normal. We counter like normal. We hit like normal. Striker, finish off that fight. Pretty simple fight there on a tricky node. If you want to see more fights on this, I've got many dust fights on that node. Feel free to look them up on my channel. We're going to move on. Okay, now this node is a little bit trickier to deal with Ironheart because it does have Conflictor on it. You see a lot of mutant champions on here because it does have prowess puncture as well, so they're going to gain more prowess. You know, Sauron is here because he will go unblockable as well, but guess what? Ironheart can deal with that perfectly fine. You can see there the Conflictor triggered right off the bat. I kind of like using debuff champs on Conflictor nodes because I can kind of control when it's going to be. I can kind of control parries a little bit more. There, you can see he's unblockable. Guess what? I got hit by the first part of that, and she didn't care because she can block unblockable specials. That's all that I brought her in here for was, you know, if he wants to throw a special and it's unblockable and I kind of miss, well, guess what? It doesn't really hurt too much. Here you can see now, you know, we're going to finish this fight off here with a striker, and then we're going to go into our special 1, push him up over special 2 again. We're going to let the few little incinerates that are on there tick him down, and he just kind of drops over dead. Now, Bishop here is a very, very common placement. This is typically where I see Bishop on the map. If they're put him on path 4 or path 6, it's going to be right here. Because of the Conflictor, he's going to gain a lot of power. Good chance that he gets to a special 3. Throwing a lot of special 2s. If you're not bringing somebody that can block unblockable specials because of the prowess and all that he builds up, he's going to throw unblockable special 2s. And if you don't dex it, you're dead. So, once again, Ironheart here. Not going to worry too much about it. As long as you put the Rupture Repulsor on instead of the Incinerate, you're golden. And, you know, typically here, what I end up doing is I do throw on an invuln boost because ideally, I'm going to push him to a special 3. You know, even doing the special 2, you can see there, I blocked just the first hit of it, and it hurts. So, you know, to me, it's much easier to throw on an invuln boost, push him to a special 3, tank the special 3s with the invuln boost, and not have to worry about it. Because, once again, that was 13% damage on a blocked first hit of that special 2. It doesn't feel good, but overall, you know, it's still not deadly. You know, even with that chip damage, never really in any threat in that fight, and Bishop is down, and we're moving on. And now let's get into the fun fights. Now let's get into some of the shared minis and things like that. This first one is going to be Node 37, which is the Rooted Personal Space Healing Purified Slate. I kind of like Ironheart here when they can be incinerated because, you know, the regeneration is going to be taken care of by all the incinerates. You know, as long as I can stack incinerates, you know, I don't have to worry too much about the healing. So you can see there's a little bit sneaking through here and there until I build up. Now, the other hard part about this is really just dealing with the root. You know, Ironheart doesn't do anything for that, you know, but, you know, she handles the rest of the node fairly well. She handles Attuma fairly well as well. You know, she's going to take some of the Thorn style damage back from him, but because you're stacking so many incinerates, you can see his hydration stacks are at 0 right now. He'll throw a special, he'll build up to 6. By the time he's back up to a special 1, I've knocked those back down. So I don't ever really have to worry about him going unblockable and things like that on this fight. So we're just going to kind of continue making sure that, you know, he gets the root. Here, I'm just going to take it into block so I don't mess up a dex. Yeah, a little bit of chip damage, but once again, as I always say, full attack bonus is a full attack bonus, and that is a fairly clean Attuma takedown. Let's jump over to the left island, and this node right here is node 41, Scared Stiff, Power Focused Bubble Shield. This is where Ironheart shines, and this may be one of my favorite nodes to use Ironheart on. Because as you go through this, if you'll look up on my bar there, you'll see The counter for Bubble Shield, there it's at 2. I now have 5 debuffs. I will parry, and guess what? That counter does not move. As long as I've got the tracking debuff on there, that counter is going nowhere. I don't have to worry at all about the Bubble Shield and him going unblockable. Here, it's going to be really just power focus 2, so I can hit into him a lot. Yeah, I'm going to be baiting special 2s. Yeah, he's going to be hitting into my block with him. Who cares? As long as I'm being aggressive, the only thing I have to worry about here is being rooted. But, I'm staying fairly aggressive here. He throws a special. I do get rooted. Not a big deal. We're going to dex the heavy. We're out of the root. He's almost dead. Well, guess what? He is dead. There you go. So, very, very quick, easy takedown of Quicksilver there. Staying on this same note, and if you recall, a couple months back, I put out a video calling Ironheart the best Enchantress counter in the game. You can see there, I had Count Nefaria. Guess what? We're going into this fight with Ironheart. Primarily because then we do not have to worry about Bubble Shield once again. Here, we're just going to start this fight the way we typically do. We're trying to bait a heavy. We're going to counter the heavy. Now we're going to get a nice cheeky intercept. Now, guess what? We've got 6 incinerates on there. If she gets her little phase that she can do after the special, guess what? I am not going to miss there. I kind of screwed up and got hit. Not a big deal. There we get another intercept in. Now we're going to throw a special 1. Biggest thing in this fight, keeping at least 5 incinerates on her. Ideally, I don't want her throwing special 1, so I'm going to turtle up, which is great because, I can take as many hits into block and all that as I need to on this node because, once again, that Bubble Shield counter does not move. Here, it's also nice on Power Focus too. Very easy to get her up to 2 bars of power. If she wants to throw special 1s, great. I am going to bait before the special 3. A lot of times, if you watch me in Battlegrounds or something like that, and I'm using Ironheart, I'll just go ahead and push Enchantress right up to a special 3 and take care of her that way. Here, we're just going to do every hit in the block. You can see Bubble Shield still hasn't moved. Yeah, I'm rooted. Big deal. She's going to throw a heavy. Another heavy. Another hit. She's down. Very easy takedown of a tough champion on a fairly tough node. And yes, I showed a similar fight to this one just a few seconds ago, but you know what? We're going to do it again because I like it that much. Sorry, this is my video. You just have to live with it every once in a while. And you can see it's going to be the same thing. Here, just need to get him to do that first evade. That's the trickiest thing on the node. Here, we're at 4. Now we're at 5. And this fight might as well be over. Takes the to me, the hardest part of it, the Bubble Shield, out of the equation. We're going to throw a special 1. If he wants to throw a special 2, great. If he wants to hit me in the block, great. I have no problem with that. Dex the last little bit of it. Medium, light, medium into striker. Medium, light, medium into a special 1. We have stacked 17 incinerates, 18 incinerates on there now. They're paused. They're doing some damage. You know what? He wants to throw a special? Hit my block. Go ahead. See if I care. Hey, guess what? We're even going to get hit here at the end. There, he stacks 9 of his debuffs on us. Big deal. He's dead before it even matters. And did I say this is my favorite node with her? So guess what? You're going to get one more fight. And this time, class disadvantage. Not an ideal matchup. You would typically not want to take on Scream using Ironheart. But as I've shown, Ironheart can do fights that you typically do not think she can do. So here, all we're going to do, dex her specials, medium, light, medium. We've got enough incinerates on. We've turned off Bubble Shield. The fight is under control from here. You really don't have to do much other than try to dex her specials as cleanly as possible. If I push her to a special 2, I'm not worried about it. The reason champions like this are on here because they have hard specials to dex. You end up taking a lot of it in a block, and what ends up happening is Bubble Shield will trigger, they'll go unblockable, and you'll take a lot of hits. Here, I do take a couple hits. There, I was rooted, I hit my medium. For some reason, I continued on with the combo. Couldn't hit the light, so she countered. Didn't do a whole lot of damage. I do have the armor break on there. I do have a bleed. I am healing up from it, but down goes Scream, and a fairly clean, easy fight. Let's jump to the center island, and this is going to be, the first of the hazard shift nodes over there. This is the Incinerate Shock. It does have Empathetic Lock and Aggression Prowess. So what you're going to see here at the very beginning of this fight is I can't go in right away and start hitting. Yes, Ironheart is Incinerate immune as long as she's got an armor up. So we do have to wait out I think it's an 8-second lock. So you can see here, I just kind of dex around. I'll hit into his block every once in a while. If we can dex and put a couple ruptures on there, that's kind of bonus. Not a big deal. Now my armor is forming. I do get an Incinerate on there, but the armor formed and took it right away. Now, once again, Future Ant-Man is not the best fight for Ironheart. This node, you end up having to dance a lot because you really don't want to hit him when he's in shock mode. You'll see that I do it some. It's not a big deal overall. Here, we're going to throw off a special one since he's in Incinerate mode. And then we're just going to dex his special. This whole fight is about letting those ruptures, letting my debuffs do the work that they do. And that's really it. Here you can see I am stacking some more ruptures on there, just doing a medium hit, trying to limit the number of shocks I get on me. At 1 shock, the willpower healing roughly is equal. At 2, I lose a little bit. So you can see here, I am just going slow. I've only hit him 22 times. He's down to roughly 60%. Is it fast? No. Is it sexy? Probably not. There, I kind of screwed up. I threw that special one when he was in shock, and you can see I start losing some health rather rapidly at that point. Don't want to do that too often. Here, because I'm playing slow, though, the nice thing is he's not building up a lot of armors, so I'm not glancing. I'm not, really doing too much. And as soon as I said not glancing, glancing pops up on there. So, that's just the way it goes. Here, we do throw that special one when he's just barely over into shock. I get 3 on me. You can see at 3, I do lose noticeable health. At this point, I'm feeling pretty confident. I'm just kind of hitting a couple times until he's back into Incinerate mode. Now this fight's over. Slower, a lot of chip damage, but she is very effective on that node as well. Let's jump up to the main boss island. This is going to be node 46, Aspect of Evolution, Enhanced Special 2, Steady as She Goes, Power Gain, etc., etc. Here you're going to see I do throw on an invuln boost just in case I push him to a special 3, which I kind of figured somewhere in this fight would happen. She's not used very often on this node because you see Serpent here a lot. I understand the placement of Sentinel, but here what you're going to see is we're just going to fight this fight nice, slow, and easy. Medium, light, medium combos. If he wants to throw a special, great. We're just going to let the Incinerates do their thing. You can see there, they are a lot of red numbers popping up there. If he wants to throw specials, great. If he doesn't, that's fine. Here, I'm going to throw my special 1 to pause the Incinerate, so it pauses at 12. Just some more damage. Get a nice clean dex at the special 2. And we're right back at it. And because we're doing medium, light, medium combos, you can see the counter on Sentinel is going up very, very slow. Here, another special 1 does jump it by 20. Now we just need to bait his special 2. There we go. We dex out of it. He's almost fully ramped. Now his analysis is complete. He's fully ramped, so we're not going to hit quite as hard. But guess what? We're still going to place Incinerates. And that's what I'm hoping will do all the work in this fight. He's now to the point where you're going to watch his armor will show up. And because I am fighting this slow, we're not going to hit into him. We're not going to counter. Fortunately, this is where he's going to throw a special 3 if he's going to throw it. But he was nice. He threw special 2s right away. He got 2 of them off before he died. Taking a fairly tricky fight with a champion that you wouldn't normally expect. Jumping over to the other side, this is going to be node 47. Perfect node for Ironheart here. Once again, once you get 5 debuffs on, you get the tracking, you do not have to worry about the falter from this node. So, all that you're looking out for then on this node really is the fight or flight, so the unstoppable timer, and whatever is in the champion's kit that you have to worry about. So you can see here, I'm doing medium, light, medium. We're at 3, we're at 4, we're at 5 incinerates. At this point, I don't have to worry about faltering. You can see there, I'm watching out for the unstoppable. I get it, I get a parry. We push him to a special 2, that's fine. Yes, the node will give the defender some furies there. I don't know why I went ahead and heavied, other than it felt like the time to do it. Here, he's going to throw his special 2. We're going to take it, most of it in the block. We're going to counter with medium, light, medium, striker. Once again, just making sure we keep our incinerates on there so we don't have to worry about the falter. There, we're a little close. Cut that one a little close for the unstoppable. Worked out fine. There, he's going to throw a special 1. We're going to take it all on the block. Once again, he's going to throw a special 1. We take it all on the block. We back away because of the unstoppable timer. See, the thing that I usually struggle with on this node, if I'm not using somebody that can deal with the falter, is then you have to pay attention to the falter, you have to pay attention to the unstoppable, you have to pay attention to their buffs to know when they have a buff expire so you know when to knock them down. At this point, it is just simple. Not much we could do about the unstoppable that time around. He got it, we just back away. And, once again with the striker, not the fastest fight, but very, very effective on that node against Bastion there. And now we're going to be taking on this Jean Grey. I understand the placement here. You'd have to worry about falter, you'd have to worry about reverse controls, you'd have to worry about unstoppable. A lot that you would have to focus on this node if you weren't using Ironheart. So using Ironheart here, you don't have to worry about Jean's reverse controls. You don't have to worry about the falter. All you have to worry about is the unstoppable. And the cool thing in this fight is, if you notice, I start at roughly 86% health. This is a mini boss on Boss Island. Big health pool, chunky, tough defender. You can see here, there I kind of screwed up. Oops, I'm down to 77%. I'm pointing that out for a reason, and you'll see here in a minute. Here, we just kind of waiting out the unstoppable. Didn't want to start a combo or do anything while unstoppable. Here, we're going to throw our special 1. And ideally, I would push her to special 2s. I can dex her special 2 pretty much 100 times out of 100. It's very, very easy to do. There, special 2, very, very nice. We're back up to 86% health, by the way. And now we're just going to kind of do some combos. We're going to back away, let the unstoppable timer come. She's deciding she wants to throw her special 1. All well and good. We're going to throw our special 1. And you can kind of see how this fight's going to go. She's going to throw her special 1. Great. I'm delirious. Great. I back away so I get the unstoppable. We're going to throw our special 1 again. And this is just rinse and repeat. Parry. Couple hits, she throws her specials, great, I throw mine, we throw a striker, we throw combos, we do whatever we need to do in this entire fight. And here she's at 5%, 4%, 3, 2, 1. I finish 1% higher than I started, and I got hit during the fight. What more can you ask for? And we do have one more fight on this node, and for your sanity and mine, I am going to speed it up a little bit. Like I said earlier, Ironheart is not great for future Ant-Man. She is great for the node. So here, really the whole point of this is, I don't have to worry about the falter. And you're going to see here, he builds up a bunch of armors, so I can't do my medium, light, medium and stack on a bunch of ruptures. There, he did get the unstoppable. I missed it, so I got hit a little bit. Even sped up, this fight is slow. We're a minute in. He's only about half health. So, it just takes a while. There, we back away. You can kind of get the idea of the fight, even as fast as it's going. It's just one of those fights that takes a lot of the trickiness out of the fight and, really handles it fairly well. Even taking those couple hits, we've healed up a little bit during the fight. We're using some of his debuffs to help heal us up just a little bit. As long as you don't stack too many of them on there, you're okay. All in all, it is a tough fight against a tough champion where you can't really finish combos. You've got a lot to worry about, a lot to look out for, and it makes it a little bit easier. Now, you can see future Ant-Man does have 21 Furies, so if he does hit me, it's going to hurt. And they're 1% dead, and we're through that fight. All right, let's jump back over to the other side of Boss Island. This is going to be node 48, Safeguard, Stunning Reflection, Bleed Shock, Bane, Force of Will. Nothing on this node that Ironheart can really turn off. So you can't parry, you can't do a lot of things, but what you can do on this node is you can stack either your Rupture or your Incinerates on there. In this case, I'm in Rupture mode, don't want to go into Incinerate mode against Onslaught, and we're going to use those and Bane to our advantage. We're going to take a lot of hits in a block. We're going to take a good chunk of chip damage in this fight, but the whole purpose of this fight is to, one, not get hit by his special one, and two, let Bane and let Rupture do their work. You can see there, I just do one hit, I back away, I dex the special one, I don't care how long it takes. Bane and Rupture are doing what they need to do. Not getting the greatest Bane transfers, it's working. I am taking a bunch of chip damage there, but you can see here, we're 45 seconds into the fight. He's at half health. We're just kind of taking the fight as it comes to us. And once again, this is just another one of those cases where, are there better Onslaught counters for this node than Ironheart? Heck yes, there are. But she handles the node, she handles the fight very, very well. Here we go. Once again, we transfer the Bane. There, we kind of screwed up. That was a screw up. We did get him with the crush charge, and we failed to dex out of it. But even that really didn't hurt us too much. We're going to dex this special one. Bane, Ruptures, ticking him down. He's at 3. He's at 2. We're going to hit into his block to finish him off. All right, let's jump over to node 49, and anytime on the map I see a Jean Grey, I look for a way to use Ironheart, and this node is absolutely perfect for Ironheart. One, the Incinerates are going to turn off the Stunning Reflect on this node. It's got polka dot power, so I'm going to be able to use the polka dot power, and not really going to have to worry about too much. There is brute force on here, so we do have to stay fairly aggressive or we'll tick down with brute force. But we're just going to take this as a typical Jean Grey fight. We just kind of have to watch to make sure that the stun timer is on cooldown when we go to parry her. Other than that, it's going to be a very, very easy to handle fight. And just doing my Ironheart combos. A lot of cases it's just medium, light, medium. Sometimes it's 5-hit combos. Sometimes I just kind of play it by ear, and whatever feels good in the fight, we do. But the main thing is to get those 2 mediums on there so you stack on Incinerates. And at this point, she's down. What more can I say? What more can Ironheart do? What more can she do? I asked. Well, let's say you want to do a boss. Let's say they have this big, old, chunky, mean, ugly, rank 4 Onslaught sitting on a boss node with over 1 million health. Sound good? Sound fair? Would you bring Ironheart in for it? Nah, you're going to bring your Jax. You're going to bring your Bastion. You're going to bring other champions in here. We go into Rupture mode. And let's just see how well Ironheart does here. Plan, medium, light, mediums. We're going to try to throw our specials at the combo of 10 so that we're knocking them down so we don't have to worry about the crush charge. There we go. That is now in there. And we're going to bait a special one. All we need to do, dex a special one cleanly. I like dexing every once in a while because when you see that repulsor debuff red call out on the left, it's placing 2 debuffs on him. Great, so there you go. Repulsor dodge, 2 debuffs on him. Fine, medium, light, medium, we stack on some more Ruptures. As I've said, those red numbers individually look pathetic. Not very much, not very sexy, not very interesting at all. There you can see we've lost a lot because it took them a while to throw a special. There we accidentally get crushed. Oh well, not a big deal. We got armor up so we can handle those hits. There we dex the special one. And now it's time to get back into it. Now we need to get our special one on there. We need to pause our debuffs. We need to start stacking more so this goes a little bit quicker. So we're going to take a couple hits in the block. We do go over the 10 hit combo again, so we throw our special. Now, once again, we're back up to 10 of the ruptures on there. We're going to dex, we're up to 12. We're not going to be able to make it to our special before the crush charge. We're actually paying attention this time around. You can see here, we're at 21. He's got the crush. I'm not going to make it, so just need to dex cleanly. Just need to stay away from him. And there we go. So we get the nice clean dex there. And now what we can do is we can hit him. We can go over to the 30 combo, remove that crush charge, pause our debuffs. Now we're stacking the debuffs. Now we're doing what we should have been doing all along. There's 19 on him right now with them paused. He's down to 33% health. I'm double his health right at the moment. We're 2 minutes in. Yes, this is a little slow. Like I said, there's other champions that can take this better. But, you know, every once in a while, you just have to use who you like. And in this case, I used Ironheart. I love Ironheart. You know, to me, she is by far the queen of Alliance War. She is one of those champions that can take fights all over the map. She handles a wide variety of different situations very, very well. You know, she can, you know, turn off bits and pieces of nodes, turn off bits and pieces of champion kits, and just control the map. Those fights that she's good for, she's very, very good. Those that she don't think she's good for, she can handle. So, you know, with all that said, here we go. Yes, this was a 3-minute boss fight. But guess what? She handled it. She took him out. My favorite champion. Hopefully you've appreciated this video. Hopefully you like what you've seen. If you did, please leave a like. Please subscribe. Please leave me a comment down below. And until the next video, I hope everybody has a great day and take care all.